This data here is not anecdotal. This is CVS's own data for an employer based in Massachusetts. I'm going to throw out two prices for each drug name, and I want you to guess, Mr. Joyner, which drug is the price CVS charges the employer and which drug is the NADAC price. And I wish that one of the pharmacists in the audience here could help me with these drug names. But we've got teriflunomide, which is used to treat multiple sclerosis. It's priced at $6,000, $229, or $16. Which one do you think is the CVS true cost and which one is NADAC?
If it were the true cost price, it would be the lower.
Well, that's interesting because the answer is the CVS price is $6,229 and NADAC is $16. That is a 38,000% markup.
Yeah.
Abiraterone acetate is used to treat cancer and is priced out at $91 or $5,800. Which one is the CVS price, do you think?
If that client has adopted the true cost pricing model, it would be the lower.
We have the CVS price at $5,800, NADAC at $91. That's a $6,300% markup. I can keep going. We've got prostate cancer, 6,000% above NADAC. We've got leukemia, 13,000% above NADAC. Chronic kidney disease, 5,000% above NADAC. HIV, 4,000% above NADAC. Heart failure, a modest 161% markup above NADAC. These are not aberrations, Mr. Joyner. These are not anecdotal. This is your data in my home state. And while specialty drugs may be used by less than 2% of the U.S. population, they account for over 50% of the drug spent. So if there's any cherry picking going on, it isn't by the FTC, regardless of what PCMA says. It's by the big PBMs. You are cherry picking drugs to apply them to specialty rates at specialty formularies. There is a clear pattern of marking up drugs used to treat the sickest patients, and you are marking these drugs up and filling them disproportionately at your pharmacies through steering.
Chair recognizes Mr. Auchincloss from Massachusetts.
Thank you, Chairman. Long day, gentlemen, almost over. All three of your companies are part of the Pharmaceutical Care Management Association. Is that correct? Yes, and I see the PCMA is here today as well. The PCMA responded to the FTC's interim report with a statement that said, amongst other things, that the report is based on anecdotes and comments from anonymous sources and self-interested parties. The PCMA said the report was supported only by 2 cherry-picked cases. PCMA said the report completely overlooks the volumes of data that demonstrate the value that PBMs provide. Do any of you three want to disassociate yourself from those comments about the FTC report, or do you stand by those?
We stand behind them.
We stand behind them. I found the FTC report compelling. I found it also to be supported by excellent investigative reporting by the New York Times, by the Wall Street Journal, by a recent report from 3-Axis Advisors examining Washington state employer data, by a June 2023 MedPAC report that found that payments were likely to be highest to pharmacies that are affiliated with the PBM and prescription drug plan, while non-vertically integrated pharmacies were most likely to receive the lowest payments. I thought that the evidence fact pattern was quite strong. But given the claims of PCMA, and in particular, Mr. Joyner, the claims that CVS has made about true cost, I decided to do my own investigation in Massachusetts, got access to a Fortune 500 employer's data in Massachusetts, and looked at their benefits, which are administered by CVS. And this data here is not anecdotal. These kinds of markups are anti-competitive. They should be illegal, and that's why, along with my colleague from Tennessee, Ms. Harshbarger, we introduced today the Pharmacists Fight Back Act, which will stop these markups, the patient steering, the patient exploitation in federal health care plans, and impose criminal violations for such behavior. No more exploiting the sick, no more drugs being priced thousands of percentage points above NADAC, as I just listed here, and steered to your affiliated pharmacies. No more underwater reimbursing independent pharmacies or imposing point-of-sale and retroactive fees. These practices must stop. Transparent pricing and patient choice should be our North Star. Dr. Kotzner, in my remaining time, I do want to pivot and ask you about Ascend, the GPO that you have domiciled in Delaware but operating in Switzerland. Switzerland's an interesting place to be operating. You don't have any plan sponsors there. The Ohio Attorney General thinks that you're doing that because you are trying to engage in anti-competitive behavior. Can you attest here under oath that every action being undertaken in Switzerland would be legal under U.S. competition law?
Congressman, Ascent Health Services is a healthcare group purchasing organization around commercial rebates. We have multiple owners within that organization.
But can you attest that everything that's happening in terms of sharing information about rebates, sharing information about negotiations, everything that's happening in Switzerland, would all of that be legal under U.S. law?
Congressman, I'm not an attorney nor an expert on assisted health services, so that's not a question I can answer.
Will you commit to following up with my office to determine whether or not every action that's taking place in Switzerland would be legal, or whether Attorney General Yost is correct that it isn't in fact a way to sidestep U.S. antitrust law?
Congressman, we can certainly take that back and review your question and get back to you. Thank you.